What is happening, everyone? My name is Phil with Think Make Do, and welcome back to the channel. Now, today we are making a dust collector. Now, there are so many of these videos on YouTube. I'm not going to do a full instructional set on how this is made. This is more just for fun and really something for you guys to watch on time lapse with some music to enjoy. Now, this is a giant fan. It's actually the only one I could find at Home Depot during the holidays, so that's why I got it. But it's also a pretty practical application for me. The warehouse I'm in is pretty large, and it's got about 35 foot ceilings. So with this fan pointed straight up, it shouldn't be, well, it should work out pretty well for me. This is a 24-inch fan, 3200 CFM. It's got a low and a high setting, so probably in that low setting, it's more like 2000 CFM. And so I think this warehouse is around 3,500 square foot, so we'll get recirculation of air about every 2 minutes, which is great. I'm also going to be doing 2 layers of this 24 by 1 or 24 by 24 by 1 filter. I didn't pick out a special filter, I just got whatever was available, but in the size that I want, which is 24 by 24 by 1. And I'm gonna have 2 stacks. So 1 layer, 2nd layer, and then the fan on top. Now that's pretty big. Again, I've got 35 foot ceilings, the air is gonna shoot straight up, and it's going to dissipate over the large ceiling area. Now, if you have a smaller ceiling, like a 10-foot ceiling, this is totally not what you should do. You should probably push the air in another direction or mount your, your dust collector from your ceiling and then push the air down. So anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get started. And oh yeah, before we get started, if you like the content you see on these videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. It makes me motivated to work on more videos and record them and of course edit them for your guys' enjoyment. Also, comment. I love that stuff too. Let's do a quick progress update on this dust collector. So I spent a couple minutes trying to diagram out the perfect corner with a bunch of Z-cuts that would slot my, my filters right into place. And that was becoming super complicated. If you can see here, I was trying to make some kind of Z-cut that I would maybe take the 2x4s or some 4x4, rip them on the table saw with a dado type insert for these filters. And then I figured this is way too complicated, there has to be an easier way. So I figured, you know what? If I just make the frame of the first filter, I should be able to stack them kind of like this. So I have the first frame, it's a half inch walls, half inch or I guess 3 inches wide, half-inch pieces. I've got 1-inch cuts that I've put in there, so you have spacing for the filters. And then what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to round this. So this is my first piece. It's going to go like this. The next one, I'm going to attach it to the corner like this. The next one, we'll attach to the corner like this. Sorry, like that. And the last one will attach to the corner like that. And that will make my perfect square, essentially. And that will eliminate the need for all this complicated data work. And I don't think it actually uses any more lumber than it would have taken in a different method. So I'm gonna continue with this. I'm gonna glue this and then nail it in place with my brad nailer. Make sure that's nice and tight. Actually, probably use screws because I have screws. My brad nailer, I think, is too long. We'll see. Either way, let's get this thing mocked up or framed up, and then we'll get to work on the next 3. almost done with our project here, but I think this is where I'm going to end the video, just because I'm tired. Now, we've got just about everything set. As you can see, these slot in really nicely, and everything is very easy in terms of maintenance. You just line up the airflow. Airflow goes in this way. Slide that bad boy in. That. Let's check this one. Airflow goes this way. This one, airflow goes in. Let me grab one more. Now, I know what you're thinking. You said, or I said, this is going to be a double-decker with 8 of these sheets. Well, it's a lot of work, and I just want to get this working, so I'm going to start this with just the one layer. And then if I feel like I need to, or I get enough hate in YouTube comments or something, I'll consider adding that second layer. I also still need to apply some kind of foam. The foam I bought is not going to be big enough to take care of these kind of giant nuts and bolts that are kind of in the way. So actually what I'm thinking of doing is making a second ring around here, and that will allow me to kind of nestle this into a dedicated spot. Right now I just have my marking that shows me where it goes. And I also want to relocate the high-low off electronics to this panel right here. Since I haven't done that yet, I've just cut a large enough hole for my wire to go through. And I'm going to preset this to the low setting, so I at least can test this thing out and see how well it works before I've got everything sealed up. Now, it's important to note, with any type of airflow or air handling system, leakage of air in all your cracks and crevices, causes loss of performance. Right now, I don't really care. This is going to be like 100 times better than what I have now, which is absolutely nothing. So I think I'm fine with that. Anyway, let's turn this on and see what it does, actually. All right. Ooh. Truthfully, I think this can handle the high setting, actually. It's also very quiet, but you can see the dust. It is being pulled into this area, so let's give high a shot. Okay. Significantly louder, but you can feel that suction power. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah. Let me get a big chunk for you to see. Now, obviously, you would never do this. Feel that? Okay. Well, I'm decently happy with this. I'm going to set this off to the side and clean up this whole mess that I made with sawdust everywhere. And yeah, we'll make improvements in a round 2. Catch you guys later. What is up? I figured I'd give you a quick update here on our dust filter and what I've done with it and what I'm planning to do next. So I got a lot of recommendation between filming the first half of this video and now, and the recommendation really was to force air into the box and have the air flow out, as opposed to, I guess, top mounting this and having the air flow towards the filters into the box and out. Now that'll achieve one of two things. It will allow this box to collect a lot of the dust on the inside and maybe some of the larger particles, and it'll actually trap and contain them inside as opposed to on the surface here. And when this agitates, it could just kind of, you know, cloud out into our environment when I'm trying to maintain and clean this. Now, in terms of how I clean this device, you can either remove these filters. Ooh, see all that dust that comes out? You can either remove the filters, or I put these latches and hinges in between the fan system and this first filter box, and this switch is still underneath, so bear with me. Turn this thing off. Now these are kind of, I guess, what would you call them? Hinge clamps, pressure clamps. They apply a little bit of downward pressure when I tighten, and that helps to force the seal here against this surface so that this is an airtight chamber, right? So if you look, well, I suppose maybe I'll figure out a way to get these filters to stay in completely and kind of seal off some of the gaps they create with some rubber. But now I can take a vacuum the inside of here, shake these things down, and clean them kind of like this. Right, now I have full access. I can clean this out and continue to use these filters a little bit longer than had I just left them the other way around. So let's put this back. This last filter really likes to go, huh? Latch that back up. Now, step 2 of this is going to be adding the top. So I'm actually pretty confident I will need, it's all over the place. I'm pretty confident I will need the next layer of filters. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the next layer of filters, and I'm also going to do a top filter. So that means there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 filters that are helping to filter this fan that does, was it 3200 CFM? And I think that will give the right amount of air pressure outward that it's bringing inward, so we're not losing a lot of volume here. So that's what I'm gonna do next. We'll get to work probably the next day.